We got some big news of what's going on here in our country and regarding China, Russia, and North Korea. I'll see what I can get to in this video here and in the next couple videos here as well. So let's jump right in because there's a lot going on here right now. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. Here we go. First, we'll go with Secretary of State Anthony Blinken with an update of China. Take a listen here.
I know you just got out of a meeting that in diplomatic terms is called On the Margins with your counterpart, Wang Li of China. I have read the readout we have stated about what you said to him. I guess what I'm more concerned about is what did he say to you? Number one, did it begin with an apology for the balloon?
Chuck, I don't want to characterize what he said. I don't think that would be appropriate, although I can tell you, no, there was no apology. But what I can also tell you is this was an opportunity to speak very clearly and very directly about the fact that China sent a surveillance balloon over our territory, violating our sovereignty, violating international law. And I told him quite simply that that was unacceptable and can never happen again. We're, of course, not the only ones on the receiving end of these surveillance balloons. More than 40 countries have had these balloons fly over them in recent years, and that's been exposed to the world. I also had an opportunity, because we're here in Munich, as you know, focused primarily on Russia's ongoing aggression against Ukraine, to share our very real concerns about China's support for Russia in that war. And what we've seen in over the past years is, of course, some political and rhetorical support, even some non-lethal support, but we are very concerned that China is considering providing lethal support to Russia in its aggression against Ukraine. And I made clear that that would have serious consequences in our relationship as well, something that President Biden has shared directly with President Xi on several occasions. Finally, I underscored the importance of having direct lines of communication, the importance of continuing to engage in diplomacy between our countries. I think this is something that the world expects of us. They expect us to manage this relationship responsibly. And so it was important that we had that opportunity this evening here in Munich.
So China offers no apology. Imagine how that conversation went. You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments on what do you think China said in that exchange. I imagine there'll be some pretty interesting comments there. Also, in Munich, Germany, there is a big meeting going on here with a bunch of different countries, and Kamala Harris, vice president, actually had some very interesting things to say. Take a listen to this short excerpt of what she had to say about Russia. It's pretty serious. Here you go.
The United States has formally determined that Russia has committed crimes against humanity. And I say to all those who have perpetrated these crimes and to their superiors who are complicit in these crimes, you will be held to account. In the face of these indisputable facts, to all of us here in Munich, let us renew our commitment to accountability. Let us renew our commitment to the rule of law, and we must stay strong. Because if Putin were to succeed with his attack on these fundamental principles, other nations could feel emboldened to follow his violent example.
Yeah, so the US has formally determined that Russia has committed crimes against humanity in Ukraine and declares it for the entire world to hear in Munich, Germany. Yeah. I'm not even going to mention all the crimes. Just even saying the words here on YouTube would, I I don't even think I can even say the names of them. But if you remember here in one of my recent videos that about 16,000 children have been taken from Ukraine and basically have been taken into Russia and are now in detention camps or pro Russia camps where they're being, quote, re educated to learn about Russia. And again, I'll let you tell me what that reminds you of in the comments section. They're literally just being taken from their families. In fact, here's a recent article, literally from yesterday, of Ukrainian children taken by Russia reunite with their families, of a few of them that were recovered. I believe it was 16 of them that were just recovered and were reunited with their families in Kiev. Yeah, really, really tough there. Imagine what it would be like to live in Ukraine at this moment. Remember, there was about 45 million people that lived in Ukraine before the war started, and several million fled the country. It's a tough, tough situation. Remember, the men were not allowed to leave um, because there was basically an order that said you had to stay and defend the country. Yeah. And right now, with all the tension between US and China and US and Russia, the enemy of my enemy is your friend. You ever heard that saying? Um, and we're really starting to see potentially Russia and China even grow closer because of this. And you can take a look here. US officials believe that China may be providing Russia with non lethal military assistance in Ukraine war in multiple different ways, including, uh, basically helping with the Russian propaganda and who knows what else. But also, they're fearing that China is strongly considering providing Russia with lethal assistance. Lethal assistance. If you think about that, the U.S. has said that if they do that, that there would be severe consequences from the United States for China, and this could mean severe sanctions from the United States to China, and this could mean an import block. Just thinking off the top of my head here, um, for Chinese imports, which means that the United States may not allow Chinese imports if it came to that, which, well, first of all, puts us ever closer to more tension with China and Russia as well. You can just kind of think that through. But also, I know people in theory say we shouldn't buy anything from China. We shouldn't buy anything from China. We should only buy American made. And I get it. I'm an American. I get the theory on that. But if you ever walk down the aisle of Walmart or CVS or your local store, anything that's not food related, perishable, something like that, just walk down the aisle of like cleaning supplies or plastic or just like household goods or something like that and see where they're made. Just go down the aisle and like look at and see where they're made. If they're not made in the US, the reason for that is because and same thing with like shoes and like clothing, a lot of stuff like that. A lot of that stuff is made in China. And the reason it's made in China is because manufacturers, it's cheaper. Okay. And the problem would happen is if the US went cold turkey on importing stuff from China because of, say, they start providing lethal equipment to Russia, and we said, okay, we're not going to let you import anything from that. Or if we put more sanctions like former President Donald Trump did and more tariffs, okay? One, if there's more tariffs, that would make the goods that come from China more expensive. That would mean that you and I have to pay more for them because the that would just what happens is that the manufacturers have to raise the prices on them to pay for the tariffs, And ultimately, who ends up paying for that stuff? You and I do, because they have to raise their prices on it. Okay, I know it sounds good in theory, but ultimately, you and I actually end up paying for it. Okay, I know this because I sell on Amazon, and if they have to pay a dollar, two, or three more for their goods, they just raise their prices. It's just how economics work. Okay. The other thing is if they go cold turkey and say we're not going to let you import certain things or all things or anything like that, might sound good, but imagine what happened. Or remember what happened back when we had the pandemic and the run on toilet paper. Okay. Remember what happened when we ran out of toilet paper and we ran out of certain supplies? Remember how bad that was and everybody freaked out about toilet paper and maybe some other stuff? Now imagine if all of a sudden all the stuff from China didn't come over here. Imagine how exacerbated that would be with everything not coming from China. First of all, our shelves would be a lot more bare than just toilet paper, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff manufactured from China, and the US is just not equipped to make all this stuff for the whole country overnight. Secondly, is the reason companies get it manufactured overseas in China or even other countries or places like Taiwan and even Mexico and other places is because it's cheaper. You look at like, minimum wage of $15 or even like Walmart and Amazon are hiring around $15 and stuff like that now is it's just more expensive to manufacture stuff here in the US. So it's a good noble goal for us to buy USA made. I get it. So the reality of it is that if you're barely just getting by, or if you're like any of the 2/3 of Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck, if everything was manufactured in the United States, it would just cost a lot more money, and it just would. So, um, yeah, so that's just kind of the reality of things, and that's why, trust me, a lot of manufacturers would like to get stuff made in the U.S. because they wouldn't have to ship it from overseas, and it would maybe be better quality and stuff. Maybe. The other problem is it's hard to find manufacturers in the United States. There's just not enough manufacturers to make the stuff in the U.S. So the problem is if we went cold turkey on importing stuff in the United States, there wouldn't be enough manufacturers. There's just not. Remember that China has like 3 or 4 times the population of the United States. They have 1.4 billion people. So think about all the manufacturer, the companies and the people that they have working over there. We only have 330 million people, so they can make a lot of stuff here. We are literally a fourth of the size. So yeah, we just don't have enough manufacturing capacity over here. And the problem is, for years and years and years, we've kind of pushed it off on them to make us cheap goods. So it would just be not a good thing here. Especially if we went cold turkey, our shelves would be bare, and then if we it would just be a run on the stores. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments, and I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. So if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and then the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos, and I will keep you up to date here with everything going on here on a daily basis. Also, thanks so much for liking and sharing these videos. And here's some videos you can watch next. Here is a video about Dr. Fauci changing his mind. Really good video there. And here is a new video about the $2,400 2023 Social Security raise. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.